No, your parents saw me do the Donie O'Sullivan accent. Oh no. Oh no, they put that in there. God damn. God damn, Donie, what did you do? Oh hell no. I'm saying it. All right, let's do the CNN one as well. Finally, okay? The editorial, the CNN debut, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, this is the no ads MisinfoNation video. Okay, we'll do that. We'll go right there. Shouts out to Hasan Piker for cutting this, chopping this up.
Welcome to The Whole Story. I'm Anderson Cooper. The spread of misinformation and conspiracy theories has flourished with the rise of online social platforms that cater to extremist views with little to no regard for what's true and what's not.
What do you think of associating the Dems with leftists? That seems kind of dangerous in my opinion. Yeah, dude, you're right. We should actually gatekeep me and show me as like a purely hostile and utterly repulsive individual. I think that will certainly get a lot of people that normally are liberal and that I could probably convince to understand my position to genuinely look at me in a positive light. Come on, man. Come on. Okay? Come on. If I change my commentary on the whims, if I change my commentary due to who is in my audience, that's one thing. But if I don't do that, at all, but maybe use like lighter terms when discussing what I believe with a broader audience, that's ultimately a good thing. And it's a thing that you probably should do as well, you know, especially because like I'm not embarrassed about my worldview. I'm not embarrassed about my worldview at all. I very prominently display it. Having said that, however, for many people being like really aggressive when you are trying to make an argument, it takes away from the power that you have in convincing them. Yeah, you have to meet people where they're at. You have to make your discussions more palatable. Don't be ridiculous. Anyway, let's watch this CNN piece now.
CNN's Donie O'Sullivan has spent years talking to people who've fallen for these conspiracy theories. But tonight he's focusing on a group of people you probably haven't heard from. Young men who were once liberal Democrats, but have changed their views in some pretty surprising ways, they say, after becoming disillusioned with politics.
I spend a lot of my time at conferences, and there's a subtle art to a successful conference, like making sure there's plenty of refreshments, creating room for stimulating conversation. At a good conference, you can feel like you're at home. But sometimes conferences are a mixed bag.
Cameraman of the year, CNN guy Donie.
Sometimes you get a warm welcome. Sometimes you get harassed. Sometimes you even get hacked.
You arrived in Vegas and got hacked within an hour?
Sometimes you have to make your own fun.
Yep. Oh.
It's Memorial Day weekend and I'm not at a barbecue or watching a parade. I'm in Michigan for one of the biggest gatherings of pro-Palestinian activists in the country. But someone who is not welcome here is a 24-year-old named Jackson Hinkle.
That's the funniest way to introduce this person, dude. It's just like, here's a guy. I mean, listen, respect to Donie for at least like separating the pro-Palestinian movement from like Jackson Hinkle. Okay.
You're not prepared to admit that Israel's a terrorist organization.
Yeah, but you're wrong.
Kim Jong-un is a peace-seeking leader, despite what, the talking heads say. We're going to de-NATOfy Ukraine, and we're going to de-Nazify you.
All right, you just sound completely bonkers.
Jackson is holding another much smaller event for Gaza across town.
What's your name?
Mirk.
Mirk?
Yeah.
Nice to meet you. How are you?
He and his followers call themselves MAGA communists. And that isn't supposed to be a joke.
Nice. You guys always with Jackson and...
You're a journalist?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
Do I not look like one?
The first journalist I ever met.
Well, you've come all this way to be here.
Yeah. I feel like Jackson, he always speaks what he thinks. He doesn't have a filter.
All right, it's about 30 minutes to go. But yeah, let's see if they sell it out. I don't know what
I do not know what to expect.
Dude, MAGA communism is so funny because it's just like a sea of contradictions, even beyond like the regular contradictions that normal Americans experience on a daily basis, like the median voter being both in favor of mass amnesty and also in favor of mass expulsion, you know, mass deportation at the same exact time. And it's extra hilarious because once again, communism or socialism or any kind of like Marxist thought is supposed to be entirely devoid of like weird culture war issues, spiritual, ideological problems that are oftentimes deployed by liberals as a mechanism of distraction, as a mechanism of division among the working class. So when you personally are like, I'm so left, dude, I love this shit, I live and breathe this shit, and then you turn around and jump on board an ideological movement that is entirely designed around these culture wars, that makes no sense. It is as oxymoronic as being a anarcho-capitalist. It makes no sense. It is incoherent, okay? It is completely and utterly incoherent as an ideological position, because anarchism is the abolition in its simplest terms, in its most reductive in the most reductive way to explain it. Anarchism is about abolishing unjustifiable hierarchies, undemocratic and unjustifiable hierarchies. Capitalism is built on top of an unjustifiable hierarchy. So you can't have both at the same time. It is inherently undemocratic. The same principle goes for MAGA and communism, okay? You can't be an advocate for a borderless, classless, moneyless society while simultaneously hyper-focusing on the other side of liberalism, okay? That's all this is. These people are liberals through and through. That's it. If you focus this much, if you personally focus this much on culture war phenomena, so much so that you want to distinguish yourself from the Democratic Party to this degree, on the opposing side, you are still a liberal.
A lot of kids in suits.
Among the suits, a Democrat turned MAGA communist in a Hawaiian tank top and flip-flops, who calls himself Charmhole.
Charmhole. Follow me on everything.
So that's your online name?
Yeah, my online name.
By the way, this dude is a real freak. Apparently, I did not know any of this shit, but apparently he was like very seriously trying to debate that like every person that has been circumcised is actually trans. And he got banned from our Discord in 2020 for like trying to constantly debate on that issue, and even went so far as to say that like my mods were transphobic for banning him. I didn't know any of this until recently. Yeah, some real solid individuals here, okay? Which is funny because the other person on the MAGA communism front that like pretty much every MAGA communist is like, I think a former Hasanabi head at a certain point, that all just went, nah, fuck this guy. He believes in vaccines, or, you know, he won't let me debate on weird gross shit and horrify people. Do you feel responsible? No, I don't feel responsible. For every random guy like this who is like a massive grifter and completely delusional, there are a ton of normal people in this community that have like went on to go and run for positions in local office, that have joined their community organizing efforts, that have become community leaders. Like, no, of course not. The difference is they're not as like well, these guys aren't telegenic either, but they're not as interesting from the media perspective. Why the fuck would there be an entire story about them? They're just normal people, right? This is the man that bites the dog, and not the dog that bites the man.
My actual name is Adam Service.
Okay.
I'm incredibly American, born and raised in Ohio.
So you're a streamer?
Yeah. I've been on Twitch, but I've been banned off Twitch a few times. They don't like me because I'm very political, like these guys, my heroes, which is weird to say since they're younger than me. But
these guys are your heroes?
Yeah, absolutely.
Seriously?
Yeah, I wouldn't be here if they weren't.
So are you a MAGA communist?
Absolutely. MAGA communist. I used to hate Trump. I would call him old. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to cuss or say bad things
No, you
here,
can cuss,
but-
yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I used to call him a pedophile, illiterate retard, stuff like that, because I was a big Bernie bro, and I was like, I'll do anything for Bernie, anything, right? And that's why I love these guys, because they just assume you're smart, they're going to tell you all the smartest stuff, and if you don't get it, then you're just going to miss out on the next big thing, which hopefully is MAGA communism, or at least...
Why is he talking about this like as a trend, dude? I mean, this immediately demonstrates like his ambition, right? His own personal motivation for being on board with this is like he like caught something. Like he's talking about this like it's a shit coin, dude. God damn. There's a lot of dudes like this that just have like these are the crypto bros, okay, of political ideology, I guess. You see it.
America's form of communism.
MAGA communism.
MAGA communism.
You know, people watching CNN are going to say, you're crazy.
Absolutely. I would hope so.
How's it going, everybody? All right. This is great. It's good to be here. We actually have CNN in the building with us tonight. They're filming some propaganda documentary, which
The crowd here was mostly male and mostly white.
you know, today's event is called Free America to Free Palestine. Shout out to the AI gods for giving me this beautiful shot.
Dude, why are so many conservatives like such defenders of AI art? At this point, when I see AI art, when I see someone prominently display ugly ass AI art, immediately I'm like alarm bells are ringing in my mind. I'm like, you are an unserious person. It's just so weird. Look at the flag. Yeah, I know. He didn't even like do the appropriate thing. Like this is not even... The flag changes colors. It's like a different flag now. It's fine. The Cowboys don't have faces. Are they wearing keffiyehs? I can't tell. Also, the similarities between Israel and America are not ones that you should be making as someone who is pro-Palestine. Because what is happening to the Palestinians is what happened to the indigenous population originally in the inception of this country that you are dick riding. So the idea that like one settler colony is good and the other settler colony is bad is an unsustainable and inherently contradictory position. What the... Let's continue.
Of the American Cowboys with the Palestine flag. We need to stop supporting, you know, these genocidal maniacs, and we need to, of course, arrest everyone who is committing these crimes at this very moment, which is almost all of Congress and the White House.
But Jackson had barely started speaking about Gaza
I've been to Russia, I've been to China. Their major cities are much nicer.
before he launched into pro-Russia and pro-China talking points.
Now, Russia's better and stronger than ever before.
Dude, dude, I can't speak for every single person that is like in this movement or whatever the fuck this would be called, but like, he strikes me as such a fed dude. I'm sorry. This is such an untenable, unsustainable position. Okay. Like, how are you MAGA, but you're also pro-China? Like, how does that even make any sense? Okay. Like nothing that this man says makes sense. Okay. He's like pro-America posting photo AI art of Wild West cowboys, like, which immediately whitewashes the heinous crimes that the American state committed, okay, in an effort to build this state, while simultaneously shitting on currently and correctly the active war crimes, not dissimilar to what the American state originally did in Israel. He's also pro-Russia and pro-China, which also is like, you know, it just doesn't make sense with the MAGA position.
And their leader has a very high approval rating. The more America supports real terrorist entities like Israel, real terrorist countries like Ukraine, the more that we strengthen our actual enemies. And I will just say once and for all, so Piers Morgan never has to ask me again, no, I do not condemn Hamas. Very simple.
Jackson's social media following skyrocketed after the October 7th attack on Israel.
Joe Biden is plunging us into a fascist state.
And he's a big fan of Vladimir Putin.
Most of what is said about Vladimir Putin in the mainstream press is just factually not true. We as communists want to unite with MAGA voters and finish the job of Donald Trump.
Like, that's so funny, man. I'm sorry. Like, first of all, how are you this anti-Israel and pro-Trump at the same time? Like, how does that make any sense? How can you be a person who is literally like, I hate Israel, Israel's the worst, and also simultaneously be like, and that's why we should vote for Donald Trump, who literally is somehow at the same level of dick riding in terms of Israel as Joe Biden is? You're like, come on, man. Who the would be out there being, who could be out there this much of a dick rider for Israel, even more so than like Joe Biden? And then Trump is right there and he's just like, yeah, I love Israel. I did so many good things for Israel. It makes no sense.
As the event came to a close, superfans lined up to meet Jackson.
That was the most inspiring thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I've seen Barack Obama speak. That was something to behold, for sure.
Fascism doesn't need to be logical. Hope this helps. I mean, it needs to have some level of logic. There needs to be an in-group and an out-group, dog. Like, inherently, inside of every fascist movement, you have an in-group and an out-group, okay? And his in-group, out-group dynamics don't make sense. Like, no one else agrees with him. Like, yeah, any ideology needs to be internally consistent. Hinkle's literally 24. What do you expect? Yeah, that actually blows my mind. Like, that's another, like, classic conservative thing where someone who's, like, 24 just straight up looks like they're 44. I don't know how the that happens, but
you see all the people there and you think, wow, I'm really a part of something.
I really cannot tell if you're doing a bit.
But not everyone.
He's praising Bashar for standing up to Israel, but also Trump, who gave the Golan Heights to Israel. That's what I mean. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. It literally, there is no, like, listen, I criticize China, but many people would consider me a China dick rider, right? But I still criticize China because there's like an inherent principle that I stand by, right? I think mass surveillance on an entire ethnic group of the population is unacceptable, okay? I do. I think it's ridiculous. It's unacceptable. So it doesn't matter who does it. I will definitely criticize it. I will understand where that criticism is coming from if it's like the American State Department doing it, or if the American media is doing it, when it's like, it's kind of weird that you are acting like you give a shit about Muslims. Let's be real. But like, it's still, it doesn't make any sense, right? I don't understand, like, what is the motivating principle behind his like worldview, because they are so incredibly at odds. Like, it just makes no sense whatsoever, dude. Oh.
One who came here was a fan of Jackson's.
Now, what did you think?
I think he's an insane person.
Insane?
Yeah, I think he's insane. Rightfully criticizes America where they should be criticized, but then glorifies the Chinese Communist Party, North Korea, terrorists, you know, that have kidnapped and murdered people. I think it's weird how he ties himself to MAGA and MAGA communism when Donald Trump is the most pro-Israeli president that's ever lived. MAGA communism are...
I guess it's just like patently American, honestly. Because like, okay, look at what this guy is saying, you know? Look at what he just said. Look at what the Jack guy said, who might even be a fan of mine, if we're being real, right? He's like, oh, communist Chinese party, they're terrorists, like DPRK, they're terrorists. It's like, bro, the DPRK couldn't do terrorism even if they wanted to. Like, what the are you talking about? Like, they're nothing. They have like, they have the GDP of like the shittiest American state. Not even actually. I was about to say like, no, that's more like the UK has the GDP of like Alabama. Easily dismiss the Palestinian movement with this one guy.
Trump
Wait,
is
what?
the most himself to MAGA and MAGA communism when Donald Trump is the most pro-Israeli president that's ever lived. MAGA communism.
No, he was calling Hamas terrorists. Yeah, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. It's like he is like the American liberal who's more progressive than the Democratic Party, but still, like, when it comes to that guy who's criticizing him, is basically the average, like, progressive liberal, okay? Average progressive liberal that still, like, maintains, no, he's a Crowder employee provocateur. Wait, really? That guy that guy he's talking to is a Steven Crowder employee?
MAGA and MAGA communism when Donald Trump is...
Well, he's speaking like a progressive liberal.
The most pro-Israeli president that's ever lived. MAGA communism are complete polar opposites of each other.
Are you going to try to speak to him?
Yeah, I'm going to try to speak to him.
Okay.
I'm going to do so as a gentleman.
Also, everyone, dude, this is a Fed hunting ground, okay? Fed hunting ground, dude. This guy looks like a Fed. If I saw this guy out in the wild, I'd be like, that's a federal agent.
Nice to meet you.
Blaine Kendall, a provocateur in his own right.
Let's ask about
Who
Palestine.
propped up Hamas? Why do we think Hamas had the ability to do what they did?
That's called propaganda.
Has a history of appearing on online conservative media.
Nice to meet you.
Good. There's one thing when you talk about it, I want to make sure I understand. When you go into things about China, Russia, Iran, especially China, you omit so much about them. I'm from Texas. And the things that you're omitting, I have lived in China. I went to Tsinghua University. You don't say that 600 million people in the country still live on less than $1.40 a day.
Well,
why don't you say those things?
Okay. You're very, very emotional. Like
I am, yeah. Because
Oh, never mind, dude. He's cooking. Okay, hold on. You're very emotional, like a woman. My man used woman as a slur, dude. What the? Yo. Like, how does that read as like a? That's crazy. That is crazy, dude. You're like a woman, and I'm saying this as a pejorative, okay? Okay, that was awesome. What the? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Jackson quickly realized that he wasn't talking to just another fan.
All right. CNN propaganda. This guy's a CNN agent.
I think CNN is the worst outlet in the country.
Time to get out, buddy. Danny.
Is it the Kremlin?
Get this guy out.
Couldn't answer the question, did he? Didn't think so. Put that on CNN.
But the men that we met here...
Okay, that walkaway was weak, man. I mean, come on, dude. You can't be walking around cross-legged like that, okay? If you're like you were just doing, you know, big boy shit, and you can't just walk away like that, okay?
Couldn't answer the question, did he? Didn't think so. Put that on CNN.
He's on his like
But the men that
and shit. Get the out of here. Yo!
We met here weren't always this way.
My name's Jackson Hinkle.
Like a few years ago, Jackson was campaigning for progressive causes.
I was BLM originally. BLM has been co-opted by NATO, by the government.
And Adam, aka Charmhole, had changed as well.
So you use...
BLM has been co-opted by NATO? BLM has been what the f does that even, what? Like, I just don't understand. You could make an argument. You could be like, yeah, Black Lives Matter was immediately co-opted by mainstream Democrats and basically was dulled of its like revolutionary aspects instantly. What the f is it? It's been co-opted by NATO. I mean, I gotta
be a big liberal. You used to be a big liberal.
Absolutely.
A big Democrat.
Yeah.
You were a Bernie bro?
Bernie bro, through and through.
I wanted to find out what had made them change.
Why do you think the Russians like you so much?
Well, I speak truth.
Good to see you, man.
American politics is schizophrenic. You got one side saying you're crazy, you got the other side saying you're crazy.
Here to see Charmhole, Adam Service.
Adam campaigned for Bernie Sanders. Now he's a big fan of Jackson Hinkle, and in his own words, he is terminally
online. How you doing?
I'm good.
Good to see you, man.
Yeah.
Gotten taller since I've seen you.
I've gotten shorter. I think my dad's hiding.
He doesn't want to be on CNN?
Dad was here to talk all about how this is a funeral parlor.
This was a funeral parlor?
Yeah, like 100 years ago. Yeah, this is actually my mom's hometown.
Okay.
Her dad, World War II vet, Pacific Theater. So he passed away, I believe, 4 years ago, and then my mom passed away 2 years ago.
Okay.
Her dad always had a saying, that was his chair. If he'd go up to the bathroom or cook something, right, he'd jump in his chair, and then he'd come out and he'd say, "Would you jump in my grave as fast?" 2 years later, she jumped right in.
I was here, by the way. Thanks. All right, I need to see where you are terminally online.
Yeah. Cleaned up a little bit for you.
Thank you.
So what I've got is 2K.
Bro, this is the average Hasanabi hater setup. I'm sorry, okay? Straight the up. Asmin maxing. Yeah. This right here is straight up the average Hasanabi hater build. This is straight up the average Hasanabi former Hasanabi head, now turned Hasanabi hater build, and also setup.
Monitor right here, curved Samsung Odyssey G7. Love this sucker. 240 frames a second.
Could I like pull in a chair maybe to sit with you? Or,
oh, actually, yeah. Look.
Wow. Like millions of other video gamers, Adam watches live streams on platforms like Twitch, where fellow gamers often talk politics. How many hours a day would you say you play up here?
A day. Play? Excuse me? This is work right now. This is research. I'm listening to Dan Bongino while also talking to you and playing Championship Rocket League. I'm God Gamer, all right? Remember that.
So how many hours a day are you God gaming?
I mean, it's a full-time job. So anywhere from 6 to 10 hours.
Wow.
It's hard to understand how disgusting politics is.
True. Politics is disgusting. So normally what I'll have is, I got Discord, everything loading up, Rumble. So I got Bongino, ex-Secret Service, telling me all about how Jill Biden and Coco Cam almost allowed.
Bro, I've always wondered who the sits around and watches Dan Bongino. It's this guy. Like, there are guys like this. That is scary, man. That is scary to think of, that there are just like a bunch of people who are like, can't wait to tune in to Dan Bongino today at Rumble. That's crazy, man. That's actually crazy. No way this guy isn't also a Fed. Are you insane? You think this guy's a Fed? No, dude. No, absolutely not, dude. No. You got to be significantly more buttoned up. No, this guy is ringing the alarm bells for delusional, okay? Straight up. This is like Ryan Ruth in a different way, This is literally like the type of guy who's like Ryan Ruth. This guy's as much as a Fed as the Unabomber. House too clean, definitely a Fed. Yeah, definitely. House is very clean.
Trump to get JFK'd. And I'll do that while playing video games.
Is there a Taco Bell here? I've never had a Taco Bell.
You've never had Taco Bell? There's nothing more American than Taco Bell.
Yeah, could I get 4 cheesy street chalupas?
I'm sorry, but we don't serve the street chalupas anymore.
Dang! That's okay.
Nice. Yeah, just rip it open.
There's just something weird about his vibes too. I don't even know. Like, he's doing the soy face in real life. There's something real weird about this dude, man. And this is before we found out that he was, talking about how everyone that got a circumcision is trans. Donnie doesn't look at him like he looks at you. I mean, I get why Donnie was looking at me the way he was looking at me. After interviewing these guys, yeah, I probably come across like out of this world, okay? If I spent this much time, Trump shooter number 3, yeah. If I spent this much time with these guys, yeah, any normal human after that would be refreshing to hold a conversation with. These are the people created in the fires of Reddit, like Uruk-hai being forged in Mordor. Yeah, exactly.
Hope it was worth it. No, just never have leftover Taco Bell.
Adam had moved back to his small hometown in rural Ohio after years of living in Bloomington, Indiana, a city about 4 hours away.
Wait, so tell me though, Jackson Hinkle.
Yeah.
MAGA communism.
Oh yeah, MAGA communism.
MAGA communism sounds like the dumbest thing ever.
So it's
how can you define it?
You cannot define it to boomers, right?
Well,
because boomers.
I'm a millennial, I think.
Right. Yeah. Okay. So it's like I said, you have to.
Wait, how old is this guy? What do you mean, bro? You can't be calling boomers, dog. Like when you look like that, dude. If you look like cops are gonna be called, if you breach the vicinity of a school, you can't be calling other people boomers. Wait, what? 23? Stop! No, you're lying. No, you're lying, dude. Get the God damn. Nah, I don't agree with the things that this chat is saying. He said he's older than Hinkle earlier. He said Hinkle is younger. Yeah, he's got to be like 36, dude. Get the out of here. No, I don't believe it. Google says he's 33. Google has this person's age. What the Charmhole, check his logs. I was banned from your Discord by your transphobic moderation. I was attempting to debate transsexual issues. They got mad. I'm such an epic debate lord. I was banned from your Discord by transphobic moderation. I was attempting to debate transsexual issues, and they got mad. I'm such an epic debate lord. 9/27/2020. First to say trans rights gets a gift sub. Let's go. Want to debate? At least he doesn't have the top of the hour danky shit that Jackson Hinkle had in his logs. Because at the top of the hour, there's a 3-minute ad break. And Jackson Hinkle, back in the day, used to go, ad break dankies. That's right. And if you call into question how much of a Hasanabi hit he was, he says it's because I'm a transvestite now or something. I don't know what his Twitch chat logs. Jackson Hinkle TV. Account created July 28, 2020. Following since July 28, 2020. Top of the hour, every hour. Dankies. You missed the part where he literally says dankies, dude. Anyway, the 3-minute ad break is upon us. I think this once again a person who got right-wing radicalized after the death of his father or mother. It makes sense if you think about how invested he is in politics since then. Doesn't look like he has a job either. Yeah. Raw dog at the top of the hour without a debate. I just did. I used Jackson Hinkle as the method. Anyway,
You have to remember this. Communism is the Russian word for conservatism.
No, it's not.
What?
The next intersection, you want to take a left, or else we're just going to see a whole bunch of beans and corn.
Do you ever miss the bright lights of Bloomington?
No, not at all.
I feel like you view your time in Indiana in the city as kind of like a period of your life that's over now, right?
Yeah, oh yeah. Campaign for Bernie, you know.
You were dating.
No, he looked so normal, dude. What the happened to this guy? Bro, this right there, dog, this right here should be an immediate indication that you got to switch up your life again, okay? Oh my God. Oh my Lord, dude, what the Yo, he was normal. He was normal, dog. What the happened? And then you banned him? No, this is from 2016. Shut the up. We banned him in 2020.
And calling all my Facebook friends racist because they didn't want to vote for Obama, you know.
Yeah. Last time I saw you, Biden was still in the race. So wait, you're guessing you're just not a Harris fan.
She's a Zogbot.
What the is a Zogbot?
You don't know what a Zogbot? All right, Zion.
Dude, I'm shocked that he stumped him with some deep 4chan lore right there. Zog is Zionist occupied government. It's a 4chan term. It's most commonly utilized by Nazis online. Don't use it, chat. I will ban you if you use it. I don't give a and I'm not even gonna dignify it by being like, well, actually, the American government is dominated by Zionists. Like, okay, well, then just say that. Okay, you don't have to say shit like that. Okay, no point debating. You got to 1v1 this guy in court. He'd destroy me. Yeah, it's not even a 4chan term. It's just straight up Nazi shit. Yeah, it even predates 4chan, which is crazy that Donie didn't know that. All right, let's continue.
Operated government.
We are...
Adam casually banters in the kind of hateful speech he regularly sees in memes and online slang. But what happens in November?
What happened?
If Harris wins?
He's like, I'm a MAGA communist. I love Donald Trump. Kamala Harris is too pro-Israel for my liking. Okay. Then what is Donald Trump? Oh my God, dude.
If
they
they don't make it too big to rig and cheat again like they did 4 years ago, because the DNC definitely cheats, which Bernie just admitted live.
So you're saying the only way Harris could win is if they cheat?
Yeah, 1,000%. See, this is the thing, and this is probably what you're going to cut this all up into, is me being like a really bad, evil, white man racist that, oh man, I just hate Democrats, I hate liberals, like, right, a bunch of commies, you know? And it's like, okay, one, I was just
bro, you voluntarily deployed a David Duke style term, like just in the midst of a normal conversation with another human being. Okay, your brain is broken, dog. You gotta literally just stop. You have to do like a train spotting style cleansing. Okay, you need to like just lock yourself in a room away from like online shit for at least a week, if not a month. You got to detox, hard reset. It's not working. Hit the gym. Hit the weights, start working on yourself. Oh my Lord, dude. He is way too gone. I think everyone can be salvaged. Everyone can be saved, including this guy. He also needs to like be around humans, I think. It's kind of shocking. I didn't know Ohio was like this, but this is like they're at a public basketball court in the middle of the goddamn day. Not a single person in sight. How the fuck do people live like this? This is why I laugh when people are like, Hasan, you don't live in the city. You don't like, or my mom will get mad when I say like LA is still like somewhat of a city, because like technically if you have ever lived in a real metropolitan city, like LA is not like a real city. It's a sequence of like, you know, malls and parking lots. But at least like there are still people walking around. Is Indiana? LA is a collection of suburbs. It's not like a real city in the same way that Chicago and New York is. That's absolutely correct. It's what happens when you have like a suburban sprawl everywhere. Okay. But having said that, it's still more of a real city than whatever the fuck is going on here. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder people are so goddamn alienated and their only experience with like other human beings is just online. I think one of the funniest aspects of this entire video is like what he is presenting himself as, like the optics, the way he looks and the way he acts is probably doing infinite more damage to MAGA communism than even the things he's saying. You know what I mean? It's like I see a dude in flippy floppies in the middle of the day hitting a shot like that. I'm like, nope, I'm out. Okay.
Part of them, like 4 years ago. I was in it, right? I've been betrayed by them multiple times. So now I'm trying my hand at being betrayed by the Republican Party.
Oh, nice! But Adam's departure from the left has taken him down a dark path to people like white supremacist Nick Fuentes, conspiracy theorist Alex Jones, and MAGA communist Jackson Hinkle. Adam is among the 8% of Bernie Sanders supporters in the 2020 Democratic.
Stop saying I betrayed him, okay? Shut the fuck up. Like, this dude obviously had insane opinions that were harmful overall. Like, y'all are so lame. I get it. You're joking, okay? We did this with Sneeko, too. Like, oh, you played a prominent role in, like, Sneeko's radicalization. Like, no, I'm not. As a singular force, I am incapable of changing someone's, altering someone's life trajectory this much, okay? There are so many environmental factors at play. COVID probably played a significantly more prominent role in his radicalization. It's wild that you're saying that because like you're watching another prominent aspect of why he is the way he is. Look around, dude. Like look at his situation. Like he rarely ever interacts with other human beings unless they're like in the service sector.
Democratic primary who are now pro-Trump. And you actually find Jackson Hinkle impressive? You actually?
Yeah, fundamentally, I have to. Because one, he's really good looking. He's fundamentally a handsome man, right?
When we first met, you said that being an American man, being masculine, it's been kind of equated with toxicity.
That's because it is, by nature. We're naturally acidic, but we can also bust nuts and create more humans.
But the woman has a role in that too, right?
Well, yeah, they make the men. That's why my mom would always say there's two things she ever wanted to do in her life: be a nurse and have boys. And she did both. That's why she died happy, you know? She died fulfilled. This is why I was such a liberal growing up, is because my dad would always listen to Rush Limbaugh, you know, and he's always yelling, and he's really mad about everything, and everything's going to shit, you know, and I was like, according to Mom, this is toxic, this is bad. So then I just naturally, you know, I had an aversion to conservatism and men and masculinity. That's why I got called gay for so much. I mean, that and the blonde hair.
You got called gay?
Yeah, all the time. In this park, constantly.
But so one thing you brought up, you had a spell in a mental health hospital. Do you take any meds?
They tried to get me on Zyprexa. It was like $280 a month.
Right.
I laughed at that. I was like, yeah, right.
If you could afford it, would you?
No. No, I just smoked weed instead.
I've been on antidepressants and stuff for about 12.
Is it antipsychotic? So instead of taking heavy antipsychotics that the doctor prescribed him, he literally smokes weed, which has a tendency to, it works as a mood stabilizer. So bro, I think, like, look, I'm not anti-weed by any means, but it's like, that is the one place where it's like danger, you know? It is probably taking, you know, probably smoking weed, I suspect is not going to be helpful if you have, you know, schizophrenic outbreaks. Dude is hitting the dress to impress pose right now and it's not working for him. Anyway, non-schizophrenia, bipolar. Oof. Please unpause. Okay.
12 years now.
Oh my Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, no wonder you're so good at being true neutral. You got no emotions to mess with you. Hey, Donie, what's up today? How you feeling? Yes.
Probably grew up in a family like yours.
Yeah? Did the playground kids call you gay?
No, they call me fat, though.
You were always this fat?
Yes.
That is so American, dude. There is nothing more American than being an objectively fatter person, looking at a person that is like not as fat as you are and going, damn, dog, you're fat. That's so funny. Dude, he is the perfect American. Like, dude, that's classic. It's like dudes that look like this, looking at a fat guy on TV dying of COVID and being like, oh, dude, he's dying because he's fat. I don't need the vaccines. Just looking at a guy and just being like, nah, he needs it, not me.
Yes. You can change. You get off those mood stabilizers, start throwing the b-ball.
Adam's use of homophobic, racist, and anti-Semitic slurs is something that he sees as quote-unquote edgy. You keep saying Zogbot.
I'm only using Zogbot because I've been listening to a lot of Nick Fuentes.
You're not a Nick Fuentes fan?
Not necessarily. I think that...
Because he's a white supremacist.
Well, think about it.
He's a white supremacist.
Okay. He's a white proponent.
He's an anti-Semite.
He's racefully white.
He's a white proponent? What are you saying, bro? He's just straight up a neo-Nazi. Like, what the... By the way, I know another guy who used to say that too. His name, Stefan Bonnell Bonercelli. It's true. He used to ban members of his own community, as a matter of fact, for pointing this out. Good thing he weeded out all the naysayers, you know? Yeah, he's just a hype man for the white race.
Nice.
He loves Kanye. And Alex Jones, who they've been trying to nail for God knows how long now.
You're an Alex Jones fan?
Absolutely. I am now, absolutely.
But you don't believe the stuff he said about Sandy Hook kids?
I mean, I wasn't there. I did it first.
This shouldn't be a difficult question for you to answer.
Well, look at the evidence. Let's say that he started to look into it, and it turns out Obama had those kids murdered on purpose.
But he didn't.
But if they died, that's still a possibility because he was president. And by purpose, I still mean negligence.
What about the parents of the children, right?
What about them?
But isn't what Alex Jones doing is making these tragedies so much worse?
No. How do you get worse than child death?
I'll tell you how.
How?
By having idiots who watch Alex Jones show up and start harassing the parents of the children who died in the Sandy Hook shooting. That's how you make it worse. Adam and I were going around in circles on this nonsense when my photographer Andrew weighed in from behind the camera.
I just want to say something. I see a lot of you in me.
Yeah.
What if I told you I grew up 5 minutes from Sandy Hook? I was there, you know, like I was there right away.
You know somebody?
I knew the nurse, her mother was killed that day, and I grew up with her daughter. And everyone in town knows the dad.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, small town, when something like that happens. That's why I said earlier that maybe it was Obama who killed those children.
Andrew, my photographer.
Yeah, by the way, absolutely. This guy is the consequence of not having Medicare for all 100%. I stand firmly committed to the position that I maintain that Medicare for all would solve a lot of these issues, okay? Straight up. It's not going to solve all the issues in American society, but it would genuinely solve a big amount of issues. A tremendous number of problems.
Photographer had briefly brought a dose of reality to the
guy's watching
fantasy
me?
world that Adam lives in online. We left Adam to travel to the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, where we were about to meet one of his former Twitch heroes, Hasan Piker.
What is going on with this, bro? Chicago put some crazy shit on their dogs.
And some other familiar faces. Mike. Where are you? Mike Lindell's in here.
Dude, have you seen
Pillow
him yet?
guy's here?
Yeah. He has no mustache.
Mark! He actually shaved it? Oh my god, we have to find him.
Well, we're interviewing each other.
What a jolly man he is. Your take on Chicago dogs is forever discredited in my eyes. I'm sorry, dude. Celery salt should be banned. Like, it's gross. You automatically turn something that is delicious into something that is supposed to be healthy. And it's literally not even healthy. It just tastes healthy. I think it's crazy. Like, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Celery salt is so weird, bro. What the fuck? I love the fact that I can mute you. Okay, dude. Coastal Elite? Yeah. Imagine defending Chicago and being like, man, this bi-coastal elite is piece of shit. I do love peppers and onions. I do.
It's the first morning of the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, and pro-Palestinian protesters are already gathering.
I think people here came in peace. I'm literally came in peace. I'm asking for peace.
Well, I'm hoping to shit up without getting arrested.
Dude, chill out. Chill out. We're all pressed.
Did you check in yet?
It is tense here.
We're sorry about that, honestly.
The organizers are right to be worried.
Because these guys. They're scumbags. They're ruining America.
Not everyone here is on their side.
Wait, why is he wearing a keffiyeh pattern, dude? Like, dude, I hate when I see like tier 1 operator ass dipshits like wearing that shit.
Loads of pro-Palestine demonstrators gathering over here. Small group of pro-Israeli demonstrators. And among them, we found some MAGA influencers.
Hey, who are you with?
CNN.
Oh no!
We watched as far-right troll and Pizzagate conspiracy theorist Jack Posobiec tried to disguise himself as a pro-Palestine protester.
Now, the mainstream media isn't going to be out here. I haven't seen anyone from the mainstream media that's hanging out here.
But his disguise didn't work out.
Hey, Jack. How are you? This is a right-wing fascist.
And Jack the troll got trolled.
How many abortions have you had today? DNC. I'm getting paid by George Soros to have an abortion on the stage.
I'll be broadcasting live.
But it's not just outside the event. This year's DNC was the first where creators or influencers were treated the same as the mainstream press. One of the biggest stars in the new world of news consumption is Hasan Piker.
I'll put this in the trunk too. How are you letting this guy drive?
How do you explain what it is you do?
I have a pretty easy explanation for people that are older. I basically do what Rush Limbaugh used to do, right? But online instead of on radio. And also, I don't have brainworms.
This game is woke.
Oh, they cut out the part where I said brainworms, both literally and figuratively. and also a crippling painkiller addiction. I knew it though. I knew that they were going to cut out. I knew that they were going to cut out a bunch of the stuff that I said because I was saying a lot. Okay.
Hasan has almost 3 million followers on the video game streaming platform Twitch.
I'm talking for 8 to 10 hours every day.
8 to 10 hours a day?
Yeah, yeah.
That's how you know. Wait, hold up. By the way, this is how you can spot a motherfucker who's a foreigner, okay? You see that? Y'all don't have this shit. Right? I don't think Americans have this. Right? You do? No, not hands. The vaccine injury.
8 to 10 hours every day.
Older generations do?
Yeah, yeah.
Where he streams live almost all day watching the news.
The former president was found guilty of all 34 felony counts teen election.
And playing video games.
How do we fight again? I totally forgot.
Sometimes playing a character named after me. He even tries to do an Irish accent.
My name is Donie O'Sullivan, sir.
I'm fascinated with Republicans, and I obviously...
No! Your parents saw me do the Donie O'Sullivan accent. Oh, no. The vaccine arm, my parents have that. Oh, no, they put that in there. God damn. Oh, damn, Donie, what did you do? Oh, hell nah. Oh, my God. I'm cooked, brother. I am cooked.
You always loved the hits that you would do when you go to these rallies and you talk to them.
Before we get out, people might confuse us.
Yeah.
You're 6'4", built like myself. Are you a Harris supporter?
I wouldn't say I'm a Harris supporter.
You'll vote for her?
Maybe. We'll see. I get a lot of criticism from the Democratic Party loyalists regardless.
Yeah.
Hasan was about to try and live stream all day from the DNC.
Pray to God that the internet is stable. Wait, this is my permanent space? This is fire. I mean, this is cool, and it's much cooler than I anticipated.
I can see CNN from here. Anderson! There's a restraining order. So this is in your rider.
that would not be in my rider.
Protein. We need more protein in here.
It would feature Core Power Elite, 42 grams of protein, 230 calories.
Sick! On the face of it, Hasan is a bro. One of these so-called masculine men that Jackson and Charmhold revere and aspire to be.
Do you know about this mega communism?
Yes, Jackson Hinkle being one of them. He was like a Bernie bro, I think, back in the day. I'm like, I don't know anything about the guy.
You were a Bernie guy. You were a Bernie bro.
Yeah, I like Bernie a lot, yeah.
But Hasan says his brand of masculinity is very, very different to Jackson's.
Hitler, at the end of the war, he killed himself. He's a faggot.
Like, how does this happen? Where you are to the right of Adolf Hitler.
What is it about some of these guys that has made them go from far left to far right?
Like every young man in a certain point of their lives have like had some kind of insecurity, whether it be about their sexuality or whether it be about like their future prospects or whatever. And I think that like a lot of these guys take advantage of that and present this false narrative that like, in order to be a man, you got to be like homophobic. It's like, no, a real man is going to want to protect people who are marginalized.
It really is getting intertwined more and more with politics, where a lot of young men who are disillusioned for whatever reason, they don't have a girlfriend, they don't have a job, and they have people telling them, wait, this is not your fault. And to some extent, it's a societal issue, of course, but here specifically is who to blame, in a way that can have profound impacts for our society and our politics.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely correct, which is why I always advocate to fix the underlying material inequalities that creates a perfect opportunity for these kind of guys to be radicalized in this way.
The DNC had given Hasan a nice setup.
Whoa, I just dropped 0. What is happening?
But didn't give the Twitch streamer the thing he needed most, a working internet connection.
It's completely gone. The internet is completely gone. They shut it off.
With the great Patti LaBelle rehearsing behind him,
what the
we left Hasan to figure out his technical difficulties. As we moved around the DNC, we saw more and more creators and influencers, each one trying to upstage the other.
Okay, so I'm here at the Democratic DNC Day 1.
What is a skibbity? That's such BS.
So you got Ben and Ari here. You got a right-wing guy versus a really big supporter for Harris here. I gotta give it to them. They are arguing statistics and policies. It hasn't devolved into culture war bullshit yet.
But that didn't last long.
Okay, well, I did it. I used the gender-neutral bathroom, and out there, here you are, there is something wrong with that.
Ben had soon moved on to the convention's gender-neutral restrooms.
How was that experience?
I'll tell you what.
He was joined at the restrooms by Mike Lindell, the pillow salesman and election denier who was also in disguise.
Yeah, dude. Normal stuff, man. Normal stuff. I'm here at the gender-neutral bathroom at the DNC. Like, the moment that you seek out shit like that and don't even recognize how weird you are for that, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? It's just like, bro, you got a gender-neutral bathroom in your house, man. Like, what's wrong with you?
Shaving off my mustache. We're going inside the Democrat convention in disguise. Are you from Ireland?
I did not recognize you. Mike isn't exactly discreet.
I snuck in. I'm in the Democrat convention.
Lindell debated too with a 12-year-old content creator.
257,000 votes. This happened last week. A judge ruled in Georgia.
Who wasn't buying it.
So your sources trust me, bro? That's your source? He provided no facts, no sources.
Mike Lindell just got rolled.
Imagine getting rolled by a 12-year-old, bro. That's crazy. That's crazy, dude. You got absolutely destroyed.
By a 12-year-old.
Jackson Hinkle didn't make it to Chicago for the convention this summer, but he had made multiple trips to Russia.
Now I'm in Vladivostok. I'm safe for the time being.
I wanted to find out who Jack...
This is why I'm saying, like, something about this smells weird, bro. You go to Russia and you cut pro-Russian propaganda, okay, and you're not like Tucker Carlson, right? And beyond that, you go to Venezuela, you know what I mean? It's like, listen, I'm not equating Venezuela to Russia at all, but like, it is wild that he is going to all of these places and does not get even any scrutiny from the federal government. Very interesting. Very interesting. Very strange. Because let's be real, I don't talk about a lot of stuff, but, you know, usually when you even speak on these issues from the perspective that you speak on, you will maybe sometimes have brush-ins with federal law enforcement agencies. The fact that he's able to just like travel around like this with no sanctions, like he's in violation of sanctions, he's like getting no scrutiny whatsoever, feels a little Fed-like to me.
Jackson really is, so we finally got to speak to him.
You are an absolute gift to the propagandists in Russia and China.
I'm a gift to the free people of the world.
And to some of the people who knew him best. Are you worried for him?
I'm more worried for myself doing this right now, honestly, but
why?
I don't want his army coming after me for speaking out against the MAGA communism movement.
Weren't you cutting pro-China propaganda at 24? It's completely normal. I mean, I would.
Vote for hope, not fear and divisiveness. Surfers for Kennedy. Surfers for Kennedy. Surfers for Kennedy. What do you think about a surfing president? Get him.
It's like, bro. There was a chatter in the chat that just said this as well. Like, there's whose family live in Russia, okay? And they don't go to Russia. There's dudes whose family members, there are Americans living on American soil, Russian Americans, who can't go and visit their family members. And this guy just keeps traveling in and out of Russia freely. A little odd. Just saying, a little odd. Okay?
What's his name?
BG.
He's beautiful.
A surfing competition isn't exactly where you might expect all of this political activity.
But also, if he's a Fed, why would Russia allow him in? I don't know. I mean, they allowed Tucker Carlson in. They let Tucker Carlson in.
Activity.
300 bottom, man. 300 Biden. He's my president.
But this is an election year, and this is Orange County in Southern California.
I voted for Reagan.
Yeah.
I voted for Perot. And ever since then, I've voted Democrat. I feel heartbroken about the corruption of the Democratic Party.
Irina Morris voted Democrat for decades, but since RFK dropped out of the race and endorsed Trump, she says she'll now probably vote MAGA.
I'm voting against the appointee from the swamp factory.
Jackson Hinkle has had a similar, albeit more dramatic.
Was he in, like, the Ansar Allah thing? Was he actually in Yemen? No,
Trump,
right?
She says she'll now probably vote MAGA.
I'm voting against the appointee from the swamp factory.
He didn't actually. Like, this was. Oh no, he was just like he was doing a Zoom call. Okay, because that was like also kind of weird.
Jackson Hinkle has had a similar, albeit more dramatic journey from the political left to the political right. Before he was a social media firebrand and before he was a darling of the Kremlin and Russian state TV, Jackson grew up here. And just a few short years ago, he was a soft-spoken kid who picked up trash on the beach and organized to cut down on plastics in his school.
We really bonded because
I'm an idiot. What explain our purpose he plays as a Fed? What purpose does he play as a Fed? He gets insider access because he's like supposedly a sanctioned propagandist for America's enemies. What do you mean? Like, that's huge. What the fuck are you talking about? He's doing Zoom calls with Ansar Allah. It also, in the American front, it also completely delegitimizes any kind of like real leftist momentum. He gets to have direct insight into whatever like supposedly socialist splinter that he's a part of. You know, there is no like the American State Department will work with anyone. They'll even work with like real socialists from time to time. You know what I mean? Like, they don't give a shit. It's about advancing a cause. And the American government has worked with splinter socialist movements. Like, for example, Larishites. Do you ever think we'll definitively know if these guys work with the State Department? I mean, we'll see. Yeah, I mean, they work with the Kurdish revolutionary groups in Rojava. Brace Belden. Think about that. Like, getting trained by American trainers in Rojava as a anti-ISIS fighting force. Like, that's a thing that happens. Anyway, but who knows? I'm not saying that he is. I'm simply saying that he gets to do a bunch of stuff. He gets to do a bunch of stuff that I feel like if other people tried to do, they would get a visit. Like, they would face restrictions, if that makes sense.
we were in the same environmental science class.
Josh Green was friends with Jackson all throughout their teens.
We were some of the few liberal students in our entire school. We had a very conservative student body.
Josh and Jackson campaigned for liberal causes together.
And so,
have you ever been approached by any governments? Yes, I have. Famously, there is one country that I don't really go back to, if you know. It wasn't a positive approach by a government.
So we would often be
but a negative one.
Ridiculed for standing up for progressive issues like the environment or gun safety.
Wait, Brace Belden is a Fed? No, dude, Brace is not a Fed. What? Who do you think was training the fighters in Rojava, the Kurdish militants in Rojava? It was American trainers. Some, I suspect, from literally the State Department as well. I'm using that as an example that, like, you can be a socialist and the State Department might have use for you. Do you understand?
Or gay rights. You know, people thought that we were, soft leftist snowflakes.
After Jackson graduated high school, he was the youngest person here to run for city council.
I think that a good city council candidate has to be well-versed on the issues.
Orange County is very conservative. What are you rascally kids up to in this run for office?
We're up to a lot right now.
He had a remarkable little career considering he was just out of high school. He's putting himself through junior college.
and he was responsible for all the solar panels that you see around San Clemente High School, and that was his idea. And he just had that drive, that you see in some young people, but not a lot of them.
A natural communicator.
Pretty much.
Yeah. Jackson lost his election bid and sometime thereafter lost his youthful politics as well.
A lot of what I had been force-fed through my education as a young individual was all propaganda.
Something had turned him into this.
You're gonna kind of go down the path of faggots like that. They were all transgenders and gays.
The Nazis?
Yes.
Hey, man. I'd been searching for answers about Jackson, and he agreed to sit down and talk to me directly. You're promoting something called MAGA communism.
Yes.
Which to a lot of people is going to sound moronic.
Well, I think it causes a lot of people to reassess their cancellation of the MAGA working class, and they've been written off, they've been called racist, or any sorts of names. They've just been canceled.
You are in some ways the quintessential American man, right? You're surfer guy, California. So for the Russians or the Chinese to have somebody like you to go over there and basically shit all over America.
No shitting on America. I love this country, I love the people. I just want it to be better.
Is there not a way to do that without having to fly back and forth to Moscow and seem to be embracing authoritarian regimes?
Well, they're far less authoritarian than the United States.
Come on, man.
Ultimately,
you'd come
like that. Oh my God. Oh my God. First of all, the very fact that you can travel, even if you're not a Fed, the very fact that you are traveling in and out, like, I mean, automatically, like America gets to be not authoritarian seemingly on its face because it's the dominant hegemonic superpower. That's it. Okay? That's it. That's the correct argument. America has some semblance of free speech, which we are genuinely experiencing a noticeable decline in said free speech, for the record. Free speech, as long as you're not, criticizing or hurting Israel's feelings. Okay? But in terms of authoritarian, like things that governments do that are inherently authoritarian, some governments have to do that as a direct consequence of assuming defensive posture. But many governments do it because they don't have that level of power that the United States has. Okay? And the less power that America has at the global stage, the more you will see America adopt more and more authoritarian positions, taking away civil liberties. Okay? In terms of foreign policy, yes, America is a force of evil around the world. Okay? For sure. But you can't turn around and be like, but Russia is like better or Russia is good. They're not. Russia is also incredibly authoritarian in ways that are even more overt than American authoritarianism. Okay, that's number one. And number two, Russia is doing America shit in Ukraine as a regional superpower. I agree, but not everything they do is evil. There's some good people at USAID, for instance. Dude, you are so funny when you come in here and you are like 3 steps removed from Neek Skit, Cloud District Enjoyer, who previously claimed he had not debated me on certain issues that pertain to Kamala Harris, but it was actually him. And then turned around and said, there's some good people at USAID. Yeah, dude, what is USAID? What do they do? Is the same guy who said it wasn't him that had argued about Kamala Harris. I'm pretty sure it is him. Trump is currently speaking with purple pink hair on stage in pen. What? No, Control F is not going to give me the answer that I'm looking for here. Because he chats a lot. And I just remember him fucking duking it out with me on some shit. Hold on. Let me see if I can find it. But anyway, yes, the USAID does humanitarian work, and it does humanitarian work so that it can maintain a shred of legitimacy when it's not doing humanitarian work. Okay? They do work under the guise of doing humanitarian work that is not so humanitarian. Do you understand what I'm saying? Trump is live talking with purple hair. He's gone full lib. What are you guys talking about, man? What the fuck do you mean he's got purple?
And we are going to, and you know, when you do that.
Y'all are so dumb,
so
dude.
the #1 rated country is Norway.
Y'all are so dumb. It's just bisexual lighting, dude. He is zesty. He is bi. You know this already. It's called bi visibility, sweetie. Look it up. Okay? Look it up. The U.S. Army Special Forces also does local dentistry and veterinary work. Doesn't make them a net positive. No, but USAID is more than that. USAID is a front for the State Department to, you know, sometimes engage in humanitarian aid that's not so humanitarian under the guise of humanitarian aid in direct violation of international human rights. Sometimes they're shipping in medicine. Sometimes they're shipping in medicine. Other times they're shipping in weapons under medicine for rebel groups. U.S. secretly built Cuban Twitter to stir unrest. Yeah. It is unclear whether the scheme was legal under U.S. law, which requires written authorization of covert action by the president and congressional notification. Officials of the USAID would not say who had approved the program or whether the White House was aware of it. The Cuban government declined a request for comment. USAID Administrator Rajiv Shah said Thursday that it was not a covert program, though parts of it were done discreetly in order to protect the people involved. Shah said on MSNBC that a study by the U.S. Government Accountability Office found the project to be consistent with the law. Oh, this is the one. Yes, thank you. My point is the DNC messaging was asked from Harris, but they haven't shifted away from that progressive policy that they had before the DNC. They haven't rejected the price caps, the building, the child tax credit, the infrastructure, etc. Policy is not chased as the DNC. Their rhetoric got significantly worse at the DNC, but those policies you like didn't leave the platform. Listen, bro, I remember all you, okay? This was after. No, this is what I'm talking about, okay? This is what I'm talking about. I remember you. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's all good. It's not a problem. It's just, but yeah, USAID is perhaps one of the more nefarious mechanisms in which the State Department operates under the guise of humanitarian aid when it's maybe not doing so much humanitarian aid. They say they're doing humanitarian aid in order to bypass certain restrictions that they would otherwise have. Otherwise not get. Doesn't USAID help a lot of countries who need help, whether it's medical care or poverty relief for democratic actors? They seem so nice. Yeah, they do. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
Ultimately, I live in the generation where for the first time there's going to be a lower standard of living than the previous generation. That's not good.
And I mean, I hear all that, but when you say Russia and China have got it better.
Well, their major cities are much nicer. If you go and take high-speed rail hours into China.
You can't genuinely say that people in Russia and people in China have more liberties than people in the United States.
Well, there's no free speech.
You have a lot of free.
That's crazy. Again, I'm going to repeat something, okay? He's right about China, but not Russia. No, I mean, across the board, Chinese living standards at the lowest level of poverty are still nowhere near close to American living standards at the lowest American level of poverty. That's number one. But what you also need to understand, once again, is that the United States of America can create an environment that is seemingly free, okay? An environment that is seemingly free in terms of like free speech and all this other stuff that they talk about because of the fact that they're the global hegemonic superpower. Okay, like I guess if you were to compare like Chinese tier 1 cities to like New York City or other places, especially if you're a wealthy enough person, the quality of living, like living standards in Chinese tier 1 cities are probably better for wealthy people, especially because like there are a lot of problems in American inequality that America refuses to solve. China, on the other hand, sometimes maybe pushes away the problem in the way that Gavin Newsom is doing right now. But again, that standard is not so consistent across the board in the entirety of China, but it has gotten insanely better. That's the point, okay? The point is China, in comparison to where it was 20 years ago, is not even fathomable. Like it is objectively a different country, okay? They've done quite a bit of development. They still have a long way to go, but they have the mechanisms to implement change, and they are implementing change. My anger towards America is that we have the capacity to do that. We just don't, due to our short-term profit-seeking attitude and complete capture of our government by capitalist corporations.
Free speech?
Really?
You
think I have free speech?
You don't think you have free speech?
No. I mean, what's the public square today? It's obviously social media.
You have 3 million followers on X. You can post whatever you want. You're hosting events here. How do you not have free speech? What part of your speech is being curtailed?
It's very simple. It's very simple. Yes, I have 3 million followers on X. But what about Instagram? I've been banned. YouTube, I've been banned. I was banned from Raya, a dating site.
Jackson's bans might have something to do with his repeated
That's so embarrassing to admit, dude. Come on.
sharings of hateful posts and his celebrations of violence.
You look like you're in pain.
I'd been left frustrated and confused by Jackson. Did he really believe all the stuff he was saying, or was he just doing it all for social media clout or for money?
I just don't know if I believe you or not.
Like, I've been banned from an exclusive dating app. This means that I have no free speech is crazy. Okay, that's a crazy thing to say. Like, I've been banned from the celebrity dating app. It's like, yeah, like a chatter said, my girlfriend, it broke up with me. I've been canceled.
Whatever his motivations, his message.
Why don't you watch the Victor Gao versus Mandy video? Because I'm scared, dude. I'm scared of how he's going to do a blistering critique of China, and I want to dick ride China really hard. Or maybe because I don't really give a shit. I like Mahdi, and ultimately I feel as though if I watch that, it's going to be just another silly ass like anti-China video. And not only that, but also I'm going to give a lot of opportunities to the biggest weirdo losers in this community to like clip farm, to be like, see, Hasan loves China or some shit, because you're just going to purposely cut all of the parts where I criticize China and only talk about like the lightest dick riding of China, where I say things like, I like high-speed rail. That's it. Also, it's mostly because I like Mehdi and I want to maintain that attitude. That's pretty much it. That's the major reason. Not because he's going to be like talking to a person, Victor Gao, and Victor Gao is going to be like, oh, nothing is going on in Xinjiang, which I'm going to disagree with him on. And I'm going to agree with Mehdi Hassan on. That's not like the main point of contention. You know what I mean? But it's not going to matter for you because you don't care. You're going to cut those parts out of your clipping, as you always do, which is why so many will be like, Hasan does not care about the Uyghurs in China. Any conversation, in my opinion, that doesn't feature like Chinese development and exclusively talks about Chinese repression is basically replaying the same exact hits, but from a more leftist, a more leftist point of view. You know what I mean? It's just still serving the same interests. Does that make sense? It's still serving the same, like, China sucks, dog. They're our enemy. Look at what they're doing to their own people. It's really up. Instead, you should be serving the top of the hour ad break. And then by that, I mean I should be serving it, which comes to the top of every hour. If you no longer want to see those ads, all you need to do is subscribe. Yeah. Yeah. Where's that chatter? Hold on. Here. Not this one. And not this one. I know my chatters, dude. Come on. What was his username? Here's the 3-minute ad break now, by the way. What was the mom's username? I want to look through his logs real quick. The one that was like, no, not Cloud District. No, the one who was like, why are you afraid of covering the Victor Gao interview or whatever? No, it won't. There's actually important info. Just asking to know, brother, relax. I'm Palestinian myself. I think you don't want to watch the Victor Gao one because Mandy sort of destroys a pro-communist advocate in it. You don't want to watch the Victor Gao one. Like this Mr. I'm Palestinian is consistently being like, listen, I think you should stop talking about Palestine and start talking about, I'm Palestinian, and as a Palestinian, I really want you to stop talking about Israel right now, to hyper focus on Mehdi Hasan, destroy a pro-communist China advocate. And he's been spamming this for a month at this point. Maybe he is. Maybe he's Palestinian. But just also, why are you so obsessed with China? Why are you so obsessed with China? The people there, they say, yeah, Palestinian guy who is worried about how obsessed I am with China and also believes that Venezuelan gangs have overtaken apartment complexes in Aurora, Colorado. What slums, my guy? Those neighborhoods are better than the fanciest area in my country. Brother, what has he said so far that's racist? This is Tyler Oliveira. This is a Tyler Oliveira video that he's replying to. Interesting stuff from our Palestinian chatter. This Palestinian really has some broad American conservative interests? Yeah. Yeah. Hey, man, as a Palestinian, I really wish you would stop talking about Palestine and start talking about China and how China is actually anti-Muslim instead, please. Thank you.
And his propaganda is resonating.
You know, like Donald Trump, Jackson has definitely found a way to build an audience of people who feel disenfranchised or feel pushed away by our society and our system.
Was there ever a moment for you where you were like, what the hell is going on with my friend?
One of the first was when he did the interview with Tucker Carlson.
So Biden is plunging us into a fascist state.
Because Tucker Carlson is an asshole. Somebody who, like Jackson, either believes what they're saying or because they get paid a lot to do it. Jackson describes himself as a communist, right? Why? Because he smoked a lot of weed and read Karl Marx. He's the biggest capitalist I've ever seen. I'm so disappointed in what's happened to Jackson. He had this.
Oh my God, I just thought about that. Wait, why does nobody talk about how Jackson Hinkle, why does nobody ever shit on him for, like, I don't know, expensive purchases or whatever, like constantly pocket watching him? I thought he was a commie. That's right. That's weird, man. Yo, all it takes is for you to slap on the MAGA sticker and people are like, nah, dog, you can have whatever you want, okay? That's crazy. Hasan, nobody knows who this is? No, every dad in Indonesia knows who Jackson Hinkle is, okay? You don't understand. This man has tremendous pull in Malaysia. I wish I was joking, but it's not a joke, okay? Every Jackson Hinkle post is like swarmed by his massive Malaysian fan base, which is really funny. That's why, like, whenever he posts about me, like being like, this man is trans and gay, they'll be like, it doesn't get any movement at all because they're like, we don't know who this guy is. We don't care. Talk about Palestine, please. Or Russia.
This opportunity to be something really positive, but he has become the king of conspiracy theories.
The king of conspiracy theories.
Have you heard of somebody called Jackson Hinkle?
Yes.
What do you think about him?
Not my politics at all.
Jackson had been condemned and disavowed by established pro-Palestinian activists.
People see our cause.
Because he's a charlatan. Because Palestine is at the heart of intersectionality. Like, that's it. It touches on all of the immediate aspects of, like, it touches on all of the immediate aspects of American dominance, American culture of dominance, American imperialism, American violence, and American fascism that is also applied domestically upon marginalized communities. So for someone who's like running around being like, oh yeah, I hate transgenders, that's like a really important part of my politics, like, Hasan Piker is allowed to have a nice home. Jimmy Dore is allowed to have a nice home. Marxism does not oppose wealth. It opposes exploitation and profits. Let's focus on the real issues. Hasan Piker is just Adolf Hitler with painted fingernails. Banned. So desperate for viewers, you're leeching off the Hasanabi Discord. Don't quit your day job, brother. Sadly, he did quit his day job. Sad for everyone.
Issue as their playground a lot of the times.
But he isn't alone in resetting his political compass.
I feel more like a man already just listening to these gentlemen.
And some of it reflects a big change in American politics.
I think a lot of the younger generation, they have a different perspective of U.S. history of colonialization. They're skeptical of what the government's telling them.
This is CNN, the world's news network.
We have a quiet.
Oh, wow. This is a great setup. And where's CNN from here?
He shaved his mustache in an effort to be incognito.
Back at the DNC,
dude, I have a better location than Jake Tapper. You should tell Jake that.
Hasan had finally got some working internet. You are the news now.
I think most people who are like not exactly fans of my perspective are still like, well, that's a famous guy. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hasan streams live on Twitch pretty much everywhere he goes, even when he's grabbing lunch. He's not a Jackson Hinkle fan and actively calls out the kind of hate Jackson spreads. But
I will say this. There are a lot of people that are on the payroll of the American government, or at least working at the behest of the American military-industrial complex, that say a metric ton of propaganda that is never considered propaganda in that same vein as what Jackson Hinkle is doing. Now, I don't even know what his background is in terms of like if he's getting funded by foreign governments or whatnot.
for all his chauvinism and misinformation, Jackson is speaking to a different understanding of America.
COVID changed the world. There was a radical...
Yeah, like I was talking about like the American Enterprise Institute. Like there's that one Syrian dude who like works for the American Enterprise Institute, and he's like, or like Oz Katerji or whatever, the Lebanese journalist, right? Who's like, Israel has to destroy Lebanon. Like all of those guys, like they all get their bread buttered, but because they are ostensibly on the side of American dominance, American imperialism, they're never seen as like ops. They're never seen as like weird. You know what I mean? Because their position is not all that different from, I would say, their position is not all that different from, you know, Anderson Cooper or Jake Tapper. So it doesn't read in the same way that like Jackson Hinkle is actually doing propaganda for a foreign nation. Okay? Does that make sense? Do you guys understand the point I'm making here? Like, I have smoke for those guys as well. That's my difference, at least, from where I'm standing. Like, those dudes are also doing propaganda. It's just pro-American propaganda. And when it's pro-American propaganda, that doesn't read as propaganda. That reads as like normal news. Like what? These are trusted news resources. Like that other Lebanese guy who went on CNN immediately after Israel's terror attack in Lebanon, where they exploded the pagers, and was like, this is a wonderful operation. That dude works for the Middle Eastern Institute, and he was basically outflanking. He was outflanking Benjamin Netanyahu before Benjamin Netanyahu even made a statement. And he said the exact same thing that Benjamin Netanyahu inevitably said. Oh, Israel is doing this wonderful operation, which is a feat of impressive tech, because they want to decouple Hezbollah from Gaza. They want to show Hezbollah that there are consequences for trying to defend Gaza. That guy is an op. You know, he's getting paid.
Radicalization on the right when it came to lockdowns, when it came to masks.
Yeah.
What about on the other side?
The American project hinges on being able to afford your treats. The moment that your access to your treats that are affordable are restricted, everything will fall apart. Society collapses. Because then you're like, well, what the am I doing this for? You know, I have a shit-ass job, no future prospects, barely can make payments, but at least I can go to Applebee's and get $5 jalapeno poppers,
right? Okay,
and hang out with the boys and slam a couple brews, watch some football. COVID broke that a little bit. All of a sudden, everyone was like, well, okay, what's the whole purpose of this then? If I can't have my treats. I think that was like the breaking point for a lot of people.
Jackson Hinkle, 8 years ago, was like a Bernie kid. Now he's hanging out at the Kremlin, basically.
Mm-hmm. I made a conscious decision to be true to myself and say jalapeno poppers, okay?
How does that happen?
I don't think his political compass is very well aligned.
Joshua Frank is the editor of Counterpunch, one of the best-known left-wing magazines in the world.
I certainly don't think he's on the left. I don't know what a mega communist actually...
That right there, by the way, it's a good magazine, okay? Let me tell you. It's kind of shocking. It's kind of shocking to see Counterpunch on CNN being displayed as also a seeing Counterpunch on CNN being displayed as a as like a reliable, sane outlet that is on the left is kind of cool to see. I never really would have thought I would be presented in that way, and I never really would have thought Counterpunch especially would be presented that way. Counterpunch even more shocking than me, to be honest. Like, where's that chatter that asked if you cared the CNN portrayed you as a lib? So let's just put it this way. Counterpunch has a lot of people, like a lot of reporters. They have a lot of articles and a lot of coverage that like makes its way to TrueAnon.
Actually is, and I don't think he does.
One thing that Jackson and I can agree on, we're both American patriots in the sense that we're willing to criticize our own country. I don't disagree with everything that he says. I think there's way too much Russia phobia in this country. Obviously, the war with Russia and Ukraine is horrible, but I think this country needs to eventually work with countries like Russia and China.
You know, I think a lot of the younger generation, they have a different perspective of U.S. history of colonialization. They're further away from World War II and that narrative. They're skeptical of what the government's telling them to believe, especially when they're seeing an alternative in their social media feeds. But that's also where it can get kind of dangerous, because you do have to have some sense of media literacy.
Yeah, because it's one thing having a healthy skepticism of any media outlet, really, right? And any narrative that's being pushed. But on the other hand, what you have is people totally abandoning journalism, getting their news from somebody like Jackson Hinkle.
If you or a loved one has ever...
It's not Counterpoint, it's Counterpunch. Counterpunch is a magazine. Counterpunch is a Counterpunch is a like an old school leftist magazine. Okay? It's been around for quite some time. One of the articles that one of their reporting that I have relied on in the past was, I believe, I think it was during like the Osama bin Laden affair, where they talk about the assassination. What's the name of the guy? The guy that right before 9/11, the Afghan dude that was assassinated right before 9/11. Like I've used their investigative reporting on that. Let me see if I can find it. Man, shut the fuck up. No, it's not the Blind Sheik. It's not Saddam Hussein. What are you talking about? I'm talking about, I think it's Ahmad Shah Massoud. Yeah, 2 days before the 9/11 attack, Ahmad Shah Massoud was assassinated in Afghanistan. His legacy is woven with threads of both reverence and controversy, partially torn posters with the image of slain commander. Let me see if I can find it. They have a really good, I think it was Counterpunch that did an investigation on Ahmad Shah Massoud and his background. Am I crazy? Yeah, where they posed as journalists and assassinated him. Anyway, it's fine. I don't think it was this article. No, not like why the world's eyes are on Afghanistan, Tajikistan border. Are you actually a liberal, or is it just for the views? Why is like the followers and created info not available? What happened? All right, let's
ever
just
been
finish this.
fooled by Western propaganda about Ukraine? I don't blame you.
He'll post stuff that is so infuriatingly ill-informed. So many people in his comments, in his community, just take what he's saying as the truth.
Jackson is a Russian propaganda dream, right?
Yeah. Yeah, whether he's doing it and he's on a payroll or not, they're getting a great bargain, right? I mean, if the guy was actually on the left, he would talk about the press in Russia and the crackdown on the free press. They would talk about these things, but they don't, right? And why is that? It raises some flags for me.
Or even like, like, you know, the invasion of Ukraine. Like, that is just completely unjustifiable. There is no rhyme or reason. Like, there is no leftist justification for such a thing. It's just you are deliberately invading a sovereign state. It doesn't matter. Like, all of the Z pushing arguments that I have dealt with in this community in terms of like, well, what about Donbass, right? Like, what about Eastern Ukraine, where there are a lot of like, ethnic Russians or people who are being bombed by their own Ukrainian government for years and years. 14,000 people died. It's like, okay, Russia invading Ukraine killed more people. Like, you didn't, like, what goal did that actually, if your goal is to stop people being bombed, right? So what, is it okay if like Russia bombs them instead? Don't forget the Ukrainian neo-Nazis. I mean, this is the problem. I've talked about Ukrainian neo-Nazis quite a bit with the Azov Battalion and with other football, hooligan groups that Ukrainian anarchists and Ukrainian leftists would duke it out on the streets regularly, and those groups that inevitably became a prominent fixture in the Ukrainian National Guard in the first line of defense. Okay? But that doesn't change the reality. That doesn't change the dynamic even a little bit in terms of like giving any kind of righteous cause to Russia to invade. And it's also additionally ridiculous when, you factor in all of the hyper-nationalist groups that are on the hyper-nationalist groups that are also on the Russian side. So it doesn't change that dynamic. You have to look at what they're doing. You have to look at who's in the wrong. I think ultimately, regardless of Western intervention in Ukraine, Russia's invasion of Ukraine was completely unjustifiable. And that's it. And when people talk about, like, there is a couple points that I hear all the time, right? The de-Russification of Eastern Ukraine. Okay. What Russia has done has been significantly worse in Eastern Ukraine and across the board. Or when people talk about denazification, again, there is no righteous cause for this. And also you end up Nazifying the country regardless, especially when nationalists are the first line of defense in this situation. And now they're going to become even more hyper-nationalistic, something that I ironically talked about the day of the invasion. Okay. And NATO expansion is the final aspect of the argument, which is, oh, well, NATO was expanding into Russia's backyard. While I understand NATO expansion as a reasonable realpolitik fear from a regional actor, Russia's invasion of Ukraine literally calcified NATO's prominence in Western Europe and Eastern Europe. It gave an opportunity for Finland and Sweden to also join NATO. Okay? It was one of the fattest gifts that Vladimir Putin could ever give to Western contractors, to the military industrial complex in the United States of America, to those who want to build arms in Germany, in the UK. That was a gift. We have accelerated weapons manufacturing in Western Europe dramatically since then, scaled up dramatically, while simultaneously justifying an existence for NATO. That's why I always say, look, in terms of foreign policy, if you want to do it right, okay, and I have disagreements with Chinese foreign policy as well, but like, look at the way China operates and then look at the way Russia operates. If you secure trade and make yourself an irreplaceable factor in the global marketplace, as Putin certainly had the capacity to do so, then you make it so much harder to like actively go to war with you and completely deny trade. That's it. When you get goaded into and inevitably end up advancing on a sovereign nation and lend credence to a lot of the fears that everyone in Europe has in terms of like a Russian invasion, you literally, you did it. You gave all of the excuses to your enemies. That's it. They tried. Look at the Nord Stream pipeline. That is the result. Yeah, that's interesting that you say that because it blew up after Russia invaded Ukraine. Don't you think that the international consequences for blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline would be dramatically different if Russia was not currently invading Ukraine? Like, what are you talking about? You think, like, at the end of the day, you think our European allies would be like, no, that was so sick that you blew up a pipeline that was, sending us gas. No, they wouldn't be fine with that. Okay. They wouldn't. That's crazy.
Hey, Jackson.
How's it going?
You're breaking up a little bit, but that's okay.
Good. Here in Moscow, Russia. Yes, I see that it is trying to reconnect the internet.
Now he's totally frozen.
When I next spoke to Jackson, he was back in Russia. The Kremlin had organized to bring him to parts of Ukraine it had illegally invaded.
Are they brainwashing you?
No, I think the only people who are being brainwashed are the people paid by the military-industrial complex.
Like this right here is gross, okay? Absolutely gross and completely unacceptable. It's gross when Destiny does it, when he goes to Israel and dick rides Israel. It's gross when Jackson Hinkledink goes to Russia and dick rides Russia. There is no difference, okay? That's the position I'm on. If you have an issue with that, you can suck my dick, all right? That's it. Like, that's gross as fuck, dude. Imagine sitting on top of, like, occupied territories and being like, this shit is sick. I'm vlogging here. Like, get the fuck out of here. And Destiny did that shit too, okay? Yeah, he did. He did that shit. It's disgusting. It's just incomprehensible evil shit, okay?
Complex to spout certain views.
You haven't gone kind of full Tucker Carlson yet, though. You haven't gone to a supermarket and started sniffing bread.
Oh, come on. And coming to a Russian grocery store, the heart of evil, it will radicalize you against our leaders. That's how I feel anyway, radicalized.
Jackson denies taking money from the Russian government.
You're a guest, basically, of the Russian Foreign Ministry, right?
There's multiple private and public individuals that I think are supporting my efforts to see the country and you know, showing me the truth about Russia. I pay for my travels. I pay for my hotel expenses.
Every time I think maybe this guy is mature, you tweet something stupid. You did a poll. You are facing a death sentence before a judge, but the judge is on her period. Are you okay with this? Like, are you just a straight up sexist? I just don't understand. What's the deal with this sort of stuff?
Well, of course, you know, you have to introduce comedy into the dark times. But
Jackson and his followers have a warped view of women and of the world.
So I was dating all these women who are LARPing as men, who want power for themselves, who want money, who want to be like men, unlike a traditional woman, and they all failed. Game theory suggests that
you are getting escorted around Russian-occupied Ukraine because you do justify it and say it's good. Yeah, I mean, of course. Like, I don't know, man. I don't know if he's getting paid by somebody, okay? Because these guys, I never know. Not this guy. This guy is what you see is what you get. It's kind of a sad story, but like with Jackson Hinkledink, it's like somebody's got to be paying him. The fuck? How's he making the money? You know, he's just traveling around the world. I mean, the went to Venezuela, dog. Come on. Like, if I wanted to go to Venezuela, okay, if I wanted to go to Venezuela after the election, okay, I would first get clapped by the Venezuelan government, okay, and then I would get clapped by the American government. Okay, I get double clapped. Like, how the fuck do you pull that off, dude? Come on. Like, or even Russia, which is, again,
the problem is not me.
Yeah, they don't even let Sean Penn do that anymore, dude. Yeah, exactly. Last guy that used to do that was Sean Penn. To be fair, DSA does a trip every few years. No, I'm talking about when they did it. And I mean, you can go to Cuba and stuff too, with like, depending on which coalition you're going with. Like, I almost did in August. But I was at the DNC at the time instead. Me and Lolo were gonna go to Cuba. Yeah, bro, not just Russia, but occupied territory in Ukraine. Yeah, that's like extra crazy, bro. You didn't even just go to Moscow. Even Tucker didn't go to occupied territories in Ukraine. Okay? Like, that is weird, okay?
In a theory, like men, unlike a traditional woman, and they all failed. Game theory suggests that the problem is not me.
But in an election year like this, a lot of things get warped.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country.
My mom actually seen a post on Facebook. There was Haitians in a white van driving around the neighborhoods collecting cats.
For what?
Skinning them and eating them.
We've heard from a number of constituents on the ground, Caitlin, who both firsthand and secondhand reports saying this stuff is happening.
If someone calls your office and says they saw Bigfoot, that doesn't mean.
This was a banger, dude. I hate to give it to Daily Caller's Caitlin Collins, but like, that was an insane banger, dude. That was, holy shit, that was such a good line.
They saw Bigfoot.
She cooked
JD
him.
Vance has also been the target of ridiculous conspiracy theories.
Let me break it down. Yesterday, multiple social media accounts spread fake claims that in his book, Hillbilly Elegy, Vance describes having sex with a couch.
Sitting on a hard couch here.
It's not my thing, but maybe it's J.D. Vance's. You know, it's funny, my mom was asking me about it, and she asked if it was true.
A lewd conspiracy theory about JD Vance and a couch doesn't quite undermine American democracy the same way as for years falsely claiming an election was stolen. But it does show how a conspiracy theory that might seem crazy or clearly a joke to some of us might not to someone else, especially if it plays into their political biases.
So, but your mom, who's a Democrat?
Anti-Trump, I would call her.
Okay.
Yeah.
But she was genuinely wondering, did that happen?
Yeah, did that happen?
Yeah.
And that was after when Walz made the comment in his speech.
I can't wait to debate the guy. That is, if he's willing to get off the couch and show up. So, you see what I did there?
But I also think that that's our day and age with politics, right? You have someone like Trump and Vance out there saying a million things every day. So the Democrats pushing back in a funny way. It's kind of like they ask for it, right?
I spend a lot of my time talking to Trump supporters, trying to understand the rabbit holes people go down. On your stream, you have a bit of fun with it sometimes. I think you also refer sometimes to Trump supporters as hogs.
So you're not going to take the vaccine?
Absolutely not.
What if Trump came out and said, please take this vaccine?
No, I don't believe he'll take it.
Yeah, well, he did. Idiot.
But you must feel some empathy.
Oh, sorry. Oh. Good clip. How the did he find that? That's crazy. They pull some choice clips.
At times, some sympathy.
Oh, yeah.
Some people genuinely believe this stuff.
I do ultimately still want to change the minds of people. I don't necessarily fault individuals for going down this rabbit hole because I understand that we're all, in some ways, victim to propaganda. We cannot escape propaganda.
Rachel Maddow, she's broke my heart. Rachel, I thought you'd tell me the story.
More and more of us have people we love, our family, our friends, falling down rabbit holes. Rabbit holes that stoke fear and promote hate. Rabbit holes that can transform people from who they used to be. And rabbit holes that can even take them into war zones at the other side of the world.
Are you being followed by like the Russian security services, or for that matter, the CIA? I mean, surely the American government knows that you're there.
Well, I think if the CIA or the Russian intelligence is doing their job properly, I wouldn't know, and I don't know.
Okay, well, bring me back a fridge magnet or something, will you?
I've actually got a special gift for you. No, you'll like it, I promise.
What the? That was fire. Shouts out to Donie. Shouts out to Donie O'Sullivan. MisinfoNation, The Laws Left on CNN. Shit was fire. Absolute banger. I understand why it's not really the focus of this doc, but your full interview with Donnie was so good. I wish it got its own segment on CNN. I wish it was more about you than the other guy, but overall great, to be honest.